and welcome to Studio
Set
Stage, a weekly podcast with us, Cynthia Mallard
and Mark Dean, where we take you from the studio to the set to the stage.
In the world of
Hello. Welcome back to Studio Set Stage. I'm your girl, Cynthia Mallard.
And I'm Mark Dean.
Hey, guys, we are back for another week of exciting events, exciting information, everything to take you from the studio
To the set.
and to the stage.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
Hey, let's just go ahead and just get started. I know
Right.
everybody wants to know. Of course, Studio Set Stage, we are here, and we're here to talk about the things that should matter to you. So let's just kick it off. Let's talk about what you think about this Megyn Kelly and this whole blackface deal.
Yes, indeed. It was a lot. I mean, this thing just viraled out. As soon as she made those statements on the Today Show, and for those of you that don't know, Megyn Kelly, she was a guest of she was the host of the 9 a.m. Today Show on NBC,
Right.
and she made some comments involving blackface and wearing that in costumes and for Halloween and all
how
that
she
stuff.
felt like it was okay
Yes.
to put darken your skin to I guess to look like a character. That character would be an African American.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
All
I
right,
think she
Megyn
made a
Kelly.
comment. It's like saying, well, if I wanted to dress like Diana Ross, I don't see anything wrong with, making my color to match that. It's just a costume.
Yeah.
No. She didn't get that memo.
Exactly.
On that.
Exactly.
And it was just controversial, and I think that adding to that, you was asked to definitely give your views and opinion. And before we dive into that, let me tell you how this thing actually started. Yesterday was your birthday, October 25th. So I want to say first, happy birthday to you.
All right. Thank you.
Part of that is
always appreciate it.
Yeah.
We like to have a little fun here on Studio Set Stage.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, I'll let you continue. Like on my birthday. So my birthday was October 25th. I will tell you that, Mark Dean, I am really happy in life. I feel good. You know what I'm saying? I've learned a few things. We've created this podcast this year, which is getting phenomenal feedback. So
Yes,
just
indeed.
thank you to everybody who reached out to me
Yes.
saying happy birthday. Thank you so very much. And I'm just so happy that you're here listening to what we have to say.
Yes, indeed. And that's so important. Again, we appreciate the love. We appreciate the feedback and continue that. Definitely, we want to cover things that affect you and that, you definitely have input about, and how it definitely plays a role in the studio, the set to the stage, in entertainment.
That's
but
right.
Definitely.
Well, you know what? Like we were talking about Megyn Kelly,
Yes.
the whole thing. And one reason why we're talking about the Megyn Kelly, first of all, we black folks. We black folks here on Studio Set Stage. We are African Americans. We are descendants of Africans. So it's important to us being the creators of Studio Set Stage. And not only that, it involves a major studio, NBC
Yes, indeed.
Studios.
NBC Studios, a media giant. And with the Megyn Kelly controversy that's going on, the comments that she made definitely warrants us to take a look at that in reference to us being African American, and understanding that in this world, race still matters.
It matters everywhere. People talk about, race is, maybe it's a political issue. Yeah, you're right. It is a political issue.
Yes,
but it's
indeed.
an issue that you have to discuss, even in entertainment. Like we like to say, well, we don't want to mix politics with the entertainment, with the fun. How can you not?
Yeah, I mean, it's interactive and it deals with everyday life, like they say, art imitates life. Entertainment, when we talk about TV, most of what you see on TV, especially like morning shows that focuses on news and daily events, it affects and reflects what's happening in life. And race seems to be the elephant in the room.
That's right. That nobody wants to address, but it's just sitting up there looking at you real good.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So, definitely tell us about the interview that took place. In reference, I did, I received a call definitely from a local news affiliate here in Atlanta.
CBS Atlanta.
Yes.
CBS Atlanta. Well, CBS Atlanta basically reached out to me. So a lot of you know, of course, I have had an extensive history in media and acting, and I continue to audition for roles. I have booked different roles in different television series and things like that. But they were looking, Mark, for a local actress who could possibly give just a little background on the phenomenon of blackface, right? So honestly, I was like, you want me? I was totally like thrown off. But wanted an actress who could weigh in on blackface, because if you don't know, blackface originated decades ago. Okay, this is not a new phenomenon.
Right.
Like I told CBS television Atlanta, it's a phenomenon where white actors would paint their faces, the other parts of their body, to portray African American slaves that they had seen, and they would depict us in derogatory and dehumanizing ways.
Right. They would say minstrel shows.
Minstrel shows. Where these white actors would get up there, and how we say the step and fetch it and that type of thing.
Sambo.
The caricatures were created, like the Mammy, the Sambos, the Uncle Tom, the Uncle Bucks, all that stuff or whatever. So I just kind of gave them just a brief history of where the blackface comes from and why it is never okay to use blackface. Like in 2018, and how can one of the highest paid anchors right now in the nation, how can she not know about blackface and know how offensive that it is?
Yes, and indeed. I mean, I agree totally with what you said, and definitely taking it from that perspective of an African American. You're a host, an actress, and so you see, and you're at the ground level where you see this play out, and to take that, make those comments, she was totally, oblivious.
At NBC Studios.
Right.
This
Exactly.
is a studio, the audience, I'm not sure about the racial breakup of who actually like tunes in, but I'm pretty sure, because I remember I used to be a big fan of the Today Show. Yeah. Of course, since I've moved over now, I watch GMA with Robin Roberts, of course.
Okay.
That's like my number one morning show now.
Yeah.
But how can someone like Megyn Kelly sit up there on this major news network? Once you get to a certain level, you are supposed to know certain things. There are certain things that you know not to say, and things that you know to press. So, and what burns me up is that she issued an apology, right?
Right.
And
she did.
The apology was half-hearted. She stumbled. She messed up. I mean, it was obvious that her PR people, and I have my fingers up in the air, quotation marks, her PR people had put together this damage control deal for her to go on and apologize.
Definitely. It had to be some damage control in that. It had to be some PR, work. I mean, they actually had to, initiate all of this stuff. And she even mentioned that, she had to be PC in this thing. Yeah. But there is no PC when you are just flat out wrong.
Right.
When you are
racist.
Flat out wrong.
Let's just go ahead and put it out there. When you are flat out freaking racist.
Yes. And, like they say, what you believe is your reality. And some of those things that are deeply enrooted,
they come out.
They come out.
They come out in the least
eventually they come out.
Suspecting places. Oh, my God.
And there is no sensitivity to understanding how that definitely affects, but definitely it always rises to the core.
But can't you imagine? And I think she was
definitely
talking about the Dinah Ross. Can't you imagine when she was growing up? I can just see it now, based upon what she said. Her going to the parties, and somebody walks in. They probably had the blackface, dressed up like Michael Jackson, and everybody, somebody came in dressed as Dinah Ross with the darkened skin and the afro, and they probably clapped when the people walked through the door. Can you imagine that?
Right.
I can see that.
And even modern day now, because even when you break it down, even on social media, how that definitely is seen reflected, like with college parties. I've heard, there were stories where these college parties and frat parties, and they come dressed up as, say, a rapper or somebody. So they come in, with darkened makeup or whatever, and just, afro wigs and all of those things, and how that has, grown and been really kind of been swept under the rug. And they just say, well, no, we're just celebrating, we listen and we like these artists, and we just doing this thing. No, but you don't know the source where it comes from, and you don't know your history
and why it's wrong.
Right.
Exactly.
And if you don't know your history, you're destined to repeat it. So, I think Roland Martin was on the Today Show, and he actually was on and he addressed Megyn Kelly, and I thought he did an eloquent description of explaining to her how she was wrong, first of all. And, whether she cared or not, that's another conversation.
No, she didn't care. I'm just going to go out and put it out there. No, she did not care.
Right.
You want to know why she doesn't care and why she doesn't have to care. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
First of all, her circle is not Cynthia Mallard, and Mark Dean. Let's just be real. When she goes home, it's the back in, I think, Montgomery, Alabama. We used to live in Montgomery, and I remember a legislator saying these silk stocking. And he was talking about silk stockings, white glove people. That's who her friends are.
Right.
The same people who believe that it's okay to wear blackface. So she doesn't really have to care. It's not like she up here in Harlem on 125th Street. You know what I'm saying? Or she's not here down in Atlanta on Joseph Lowry Boulevard.
Exactly. And that just goes, like you said, your environment definitely reflects on your outlooks on things and how she was raised. And, there were some instances I've met, and I've worked with several people in the entertainment industry that really didn't hang around, a certain ethnic group until they got into this particular industry. And then they started to expand their peripheral in understanding, okay, well, my thoughts and views are different, and that's what makes up the fabric of this this country.
Right.
But again, when you what you believe is your reality. And, when you have been ingrained and you've been taught things from your parents and your grandparents and probably your great grandparents, all this stuff passes down. And just because you were taught that doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's correct. And I think that goes into, like I said, with race, that dialogue needs to be. And that dialogue needs to happen.
That's why, like in Studio Set Stage, we are in entertainment. It is important to broaden your horizons. I think is what you're saying. You got to reach out. You know what I'm saying? It's good for you to have an Asian friend. It's good for you to have some white friends. It's good for you to have some Native American friends. So then dressing up as a Native American. This is around Halloween, right?
Yeah, yes, indeed.
I actually was in
Halloween, right?
A costume shop. It's a theatrical shop,
right?
And it's where a lot of our actors, we go and get materials and things like that
Costumes
for stage
and all
stuff.
that.
Yeah,
I got you.
And I literally walked into one of the aisles, and no shame to them. Well, it kind of is shame to them, but they had the costume of a Native American, and that's for a long time. That's been a controversial topic. Let me go and get some moccasins. Let me get the whole garb of a Native American.
Wow.
That's not acceptable. Like I just went in there like this week.
Wow.
Like I said, Halloween is next week, and I actually saw the costume of a Native American. And all I could do, Mark, is just stand there and look at the costume.
And I say this, if you're going to dress up, or even if say you're Caucasian or you're Asian or you're from another ethnicity and you want to say dress up like Michael Jackson or Prince or whatever,
that's fine.
You don't have to darken your skin. Be you, because really it's in the art. It's all about the artist, whether they're black, white. If I wanted to go out and be Elvis, we all know Elvis is Caucasian.
I think you look good in Elvis garb.
Well, I just used him as an example because everybody knows, I wouldn't be Elvis, but I'm just saying, out of respect to that, and he's known, I would say this: you don't have to paint or lighten up your skin to be Elvis.
Yeah. Well, like so in other words, like if I saw Audrey Hepburn, she was Dorothy, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't.
And was she Dorothy?
I mean,
and so I could go get the red shoes, and I could go get the little pinafore dress or whatever, but I can't put white paint on my skin to make me look like a white woman.
I don't think that was Audrey, but we just move on. We keep on moving on. But you get my point.
In other words,
my point is,
I've drank a little bit of too much of the ginger ale.
Yes, I know. Okay, yeah, ginger ale. We'll say that to keep it, PG on this.
We have a good time. Listen, if you're just joining us,
indeed.
This is Studio Set Stage. I'm your host, Cynthia Mallard, along with
Mark Dean.
Yes, and we are having a wonderful time. Like I said, this week's phenomenon of Megyn Kelly and her blackface comments have floored everybody internationally.
Yes.
I will say that NBC, we got to give hands up to them. Thank you. They have let her go. Her 9 o'clock show, it's gone. It's
that's
canceled.
Official. It's been officially canceled.
But she's gone. But she still walked away, I think, with $69 million.
Yeah, it was estimated that to buy her contract out, it was around $69 million.
Highest paid anchor on television.
The highest paid anchor, of all of the networks.
And she came from Fox News.
Yes, she did.
She came from Fox News. I know we were actually, I was watching the news, and some comments that she made on Fox News. I did not know she said that Jesus was white.
Yes, she did. She made some references to that, and
nobody said anything about it.
Right.
I think another comment she said was Santa's white. Nobody said anything about that.
Well, when you look at Fox News and you look at the demographics.
What the hell?
You look at the demographics.
Yeah.
Fox News has been known to be controversial and conservative.
And racist?
Yes, you can put that in there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
And when they use those terms, though, conservative views, basically the anti-CNN, but they cover that. But
so it was okay for her to make those comments. They didn't see anything wrong with her making those comments when she was there.
Yes, indeed.
So why did NBC even hire her? I think that's the question that everybody. because her ratings haven't even been that good. You know what's interesting? They got rid and did not renew a contract for Tamron Hall. My good sister Tamron Hall. Yes, African American, female, top of the game anchor. And they got rid of her and brought in Megyn Kelly, who had less ratings, and then gave her more money.
Well, you got to look at that. They were looking at just that, the ratings, how she was actually involved. I think right before she came on, she was part of the debates, and she definitely, in terms of that. In terms of the momentum, I think based on those things.
And she had good people who were representing her, too.
Yeah. And it goes back to the team. They recognized, okay, well, we see this opportunity. Let's pour gas on the momentum of all of that stuff. And let's see if we can take things to the next level.
I think NBC also, they were looking to, gain a larger audience.
Yeah.
But is it worth...
Most definitely.
But is it worth gaining that kind of audience that supports Megyn Kelly? They probably would say yes.
Well, yeah.
Because it translates into money.
Right. Well, you have to look at the trends, being that we had the first African-American President Obama, and he served 2 terms, a certain segment that wasn't so loud in terms of voicing their opinions, really came out of the woodwork in that. So that also exposed a demographic that never disappeared, but it's always been there. Like I said, that's always been the elephant in the room, dealing with race. And certain people that notice that, including our current president, whether you like it or, hate it, learn to love it, because that's what it is.
That's what it is in this business.
And in that, race, either you try to hide it or whatever, it still rises to the surface, and it is a subject that needs to have full dialogue to understand. We've been 50 years removed from the assassination of Dr. King.
Yes.
3 years earlier, we just got the right to vote.
Yes.
So, and certain people that didn't grow up, I was fortunate. I grew up in Tuskegee, and I had
Tuskegee, Alabama, right?
Yes, Tuskegee, Alabama. Right. And I had, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I met Rosa Parks. So actually being able to meet these people, these pioneers that, worked and struggled in the civil rights movement, to hear first accounts of, seeing someone or picking up somebody being lynched, or being involved in the bus boycott, being involved in all of these things, marching, being involved in the March on Washington. My father, he marched in the voting rights march from Selma to Montgomery. He actually participated in that. He was in school during that time. So understanding that these rights and privileges that people have fought and died for, where others, because of the color of their skin, was awarded, and you could say it's white privilege and all of that stuff.
It is.
But it resonates, and, for those that don't know, they might get a pass and say, well, my grandfather thought like that, or my father thought like that, but I don't think like that. No, you need to know your history.
You do. Well, you know what? You brought up the comment of white privilege, and like I said, we'll just kind of end this, because you could talk about Megyn Kelly and all her bull crap all day long, right? But the reason why I brought up the white privilege that you talked about, she's still, NBC basically has paid her to go away. You know what I'm saying? They paid her, like you said, we talked about the $69 million, but she's walking away with $69 million.
Yes, indeed.
And that goes back to Studio Set Stage and the business. And why we even have this podcast, she's still walking away with $69 million. So she can go home. She might not be on air or have the 9 o'clock show, but she got $69 million. She can lay in the bed with her.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I just hit myself on the wrist, right?
So what were we saying off air? Her business is what?
Business was on point.
And
understanding that once you understand that this is a business, and you have to have the right elements in place, that's very important. So even she made something and made that comment as crazy and as asinine as it was.
She made a doo-doo disaster.
Yes, it was. You might as well throw a Molotov cocktail and a monkey wrench in it.
She was dropped by her agency, CAA.
However, she walked away with the bag.
She walked away with the bag.
But that's a testament to
white
understanding
privilege.
that you cover yourself.
Could we do that,
business.
though?
And like you said,
though, as African Americans, could Al Roker? I'm trying to think of, could we do that?
Well, no, and it's been proven. I talked about Roland Martin earlier, when he had his show and everything was lined up on CNN, there was some controversial things that he said, but, he basically, before the show could even see the light of day, he was asked, okay, well, we can't move on this just because you made just a term of endearment, and it wasn't bad. It was just a brother where he was in dialogue with, at the time, Senator Barack Obama.
Right.
However, he was addressed saying, well, you shouldn't be addressing him brother. That might come off as being too black. Really?
Too black.
Okay.
We are black. And Barack Obama know he black too. So, but anyway, moving on. So some other things happening in Studio Set Stage.
Yes.
I want to say big ups and a big congratulations to Malcolm D. Lee.
All right. Yes, indeed.
Okay, the Hollywood Reporter has just announced that Lee, the director of Girls Trip and Night School, right,
Yes.
has landed a put pilot at NBC Studios. So big
All
upset.
right.
So happy for
Awesome.
Malcolm D. Lee. Now, for some of you, you don't know what a put pilot is. It's when a network has agreed to air the pilot as either, I'm sorry, I'm choked up, as either a special or a series. But it's guaranteed to actually get picked up and actually run on the network. So that's a huge
Yes,
accomplishment for Malcolm D. Lee, who actually is an amazing director.
Yes, and that is kudos again to Malcolm Lee. We need more diversity, and that definitely reflects the what's going on in the world. And so you have all of this talent. So again, kudos to Malcolm Lee, and I look forward to seeing what's in store.
Well, I think it's the actual pilot or the actual show is called At That Age or whatever. And it's a family drama, from what I understand, a coming of age family drama that is based in Harlem. So that's all the information I have right now.
Awesome.
And it's under his company, Blackmailed Productions. I didn't know that his company was named Blackmailed Productions. Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Kind of like
Pretty
Studio
cool.
Set Stage. Pretty freaking cool. So you know what? While we're talking, I just thought about it. I was like, if you're enjoying the podcast, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything across social media, it's at
Studio Set Stage. Also, you can listen to this podcast. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. Pretty soon we'll be on iHeartMedia as well.
Yeah, wherever you get your podcast, definitely pick us up. So, like I said, once again, congratulations to Malcolm D. Lee. Now, I know you guys, especially if you're in Georgia. Hell, if you're in Canada, I know that you have been paying attention to the Georgia and the Florida gubernatorial races.
Yes.
So in Georgia this week, we had our first gubernatorial debate between Democrat Stacey Abrams and, of course, Republican Brian Kemp. Of course, Ted Metz was there representing the Libertarian Party, but the real fight is between what? My girl Stacey Abrams.
and Brian Kemp.
Right, exactly.
And definitely I want to say that if for those that didn't watch it, it was aired on Georgia Public Broadcasting, and definitely it was great. And Brian Kemp, it was. I say in watching it,
we're laughing because if you could have seen this debate, I kept looking at Brian Kemp's face. I mean, we're just going to call it like it is here on Studio Set Stage. Man, to me, he looked like somebody who was out of gas.
Yeah, really like a deer with, in front of headlights of a Mack truck.
A deer in headlights.
Right. And, there had been some controversy going on because there was some, from, I think a couple of days before the debate, there was some footage, or not footage, but it was some audio that was released from a meeting that he had where he talked about with the voting, with the registering to vote. And
you mean how he's suppressing the vote?
How and basically it made reference to that. And so it kind of confirmed a lot of things that Stacey was talking about in terms of getting out and galvanizing. And again, earlier I talked about us having to fight for the Voting Rights Act. And people understand your vote counts. Your vote counts.
That's right.
Every vote counts. Don't think it doesn't. And don't throw it on the rug. Well, I'm just going to not vote. Because we didn't go out and get the vote out like we did when President Obama was in. Look who's in office now.
That's right.
And I'm just being real.
That's right.
So you got to exercise your right to vote. And again, Stacey addressed those things. She even addressed the suppression that was going on, and how subtle things are being done, not getting the information prior, if you even want to vote, So I say do your diligence. Make sure you get out. It's November 6th. I'm sorry.
But you know what?
It's November 6th.
It's so interesting because the judge has sided with Abrams and basically is allowing, because Brian Kemp's office, Secretary of State's office, was holding up a lot of those registered voters or whatever. Yes. Basically saying, I need to see your photo ID. I need to know if you live at this certain address, if this all matches up. What the the hell ever?
Right. And it
you
seems
know what
like
I'm saying?
it's what, about 54,000 votes or something like that?
Those people who have registered can go to the polls. You can show up. You can vote. Like I said, this is Studio Set Stage. Yes, we're all about entertainment, but realize that politics dictates everything.
Yes, it
dictates
does.
every freaking thing. You know
Yes,
what?
it does.
I've heard that millennials, like we're not in the millennial age bracket, but I'm hearing that they're like, it's no need to vote. Like, why should I vote? Let me tell you something. If nothing else, go vote for Stacey Abrams because she's in favor of fines rather than jail time. So for all my boos, y'all out there riding dirty, y'all out there riding with y'all marijuana and whatever you got or whatever, and it's your first time offense, currently right now and in the past, our people have gone to jail for what? 100 years just because they were found with an ounce of marijuana.
And
is that fair?
The 3-strike rule and all those things.
Yeah.
And I will let you know that they're trying to even clamp down harder on these things. So you've got to educate and due diligence. Be aware of what's going on because even though you think it doesn't affect you, it will directly affect you.
You think it'll affect you now? Oh, wait, let a couple of years go by and you'll see when your children are affected, your great-grandchildren or grandchildren are affected, you'll change your tune.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes,
so don't
indeed,
forget, guys, Studio Set Stage, we are here every week. This is our podcast. We're here helping you to enter the business, stay in the business, and actually pay it forward, okay? It's Studio Set Stage on all platforms.
Yes, indeed. StudioSetStage.com. Again, we're on iTunes, Spotify, and please, thank you for all the love and support. We appreciate it.
Oh, I'm Cynthia Mallard.
And I'm Mark Dean.
Okay, guys, see you next week.
Peace.
This has been a Studio Set Stage podcast production, copyright 2018, all rights reserved.